Today, we are at the Penny Arcade Expo in Seattle. We're going to track down the best cosplayers and check out the PAX 10.
Plus, we'll review Resistance 3 and preview Valve's Counter-Strike Global Offensive. X-Play All Access PAX Prime starts right now.
Brought to you by Gamefly. I am Morgan Webb.
And I'm Adam Sessler, and we're coming to you from the Washington State Convention Center in Seattle.
We are kicking off 4 days of coverage from the heart of the Penny Arcade Expo. If you're a gamer, then you belong here.
All this week, we'll take in the games, the booths, the panels, the Pokemon, the indie games, and whatever else comes our way.
Coming up on today's show, Kristen Adams hits the floor to check out the good, the bad, and the ugly of cosplay. Then we are going to preview Valve's Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The rage-inducing competitive shooter is coming back to consoles.
Plus, we'll get some FaceTime with Sucker Punch's Nate Fox and get the latest on the vampire-themed DLC coming to Infamous 2. And later, feature eyes on the creative indie games that made the cut for the PAX 10.
But first, it is time to forget about PAX and review stuff.
This week brings the launch of the latest PS3 exclusive from Insomniac. Resistance 3 takes place 4 years after the last game, and things are looking even worse for humanity.
Here is part 1 of our review, focusing on the single-player campaign. Where's Sigourney Weaver when you need her? Insomniac's alternate reality alien invasion tale continues with Resistance 3. I hope you like eating 15-year-old cans of cat food and swapping stories of how Chimera tore your grandma's head off, because that's what passes for entertainment in 1957 Oklahoma.
Baxter Springs, Oklahoma. Oklahoma?
The single-player campaign follows Joe Capelli, family man and part-time motivational speaker.
We vowed to stop fighting and start living.
You spoke too soon, Joe. I see an insane suicidal road trip in your future.
Dr. Malakoff says that if you go to New York...
What are you saying?
If there's a chance, you'll do your best, right?
Right.
I love you.
This sets the stage for a cross-country tour of mayhem, with Joe hell-bent on reaching New York, where the Chimera are staging their final Earth takeover endgame.
You are doing the right thing, Joseph. Shut up and drive.
Resistance 3 stands head and shoulders above the competition thanks to its engaging and easy-to-follow story.
Life's pretty simple, Joe. We fight or we die.
But good story is nothing without fun gameplay, and Resistance delivers. The weapon wheel is back full of the insane offerings we've come to expect. The bullseye, the atomizer, the freeze beam, the disease gun. The shotgun even turns into a fire-spewing monster when you've upgraded it. Just wanting to see what each gun does when you upgrade to the next level will keep you experimenting all the way through.
Thank you, Lord, for hearing our prayers.
The moody heartland of America is crawling with life, and the art direction is teeming with eye-popping detail. Too bad the Chimera have no intention of giving you the time to sightsee.
Baxter Springs, Oklahoma. Oklahoma?
Resistance 3 is a cohesive and polished AAA shooter experience. Whimsical weapons combined seamlessly with the violent and brutal setting to create an engaging game you can't wait to replay. And that's just the single player. We haven't made up our minds just yet. The battle for 1950s America rages on in our look at multiplayer. So smoke 'em if you got 'em, the war ain't over yet.
There are many harsh realities in the modern workplace, but I think the worst is the lack of cosplay. Companies frown on the idea of having their employees dressed up like their favorite Team Fortress 2 character, and that, my friends, is a shame. If everyone could dress up, the happiness levels would rise. I mean, just look how happy these people are. Just look at the floor of PAX. This is my first time at PAX, and my experience would not be complete without checking out some of the amazing cosplay here. From homemade to custom made, PAX has it all. Help! Help! Somebody save me! Oh, thank God. All right, explain yourself, sir.
I'm the engineer for the Builders League United team.
So you have a voice to go with your character and everything.
Character? No, ma'am, I'm born and raised in the South.
I feel very safe and very protected. I found my Mortal Kombat crew. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing very good.
All right, what made you guys all decide to band together as a group and come as one?
Because we want it to look good.
We actually all dress up regularly and go to conventions and stuff like this, so we actually all met through that.
I was wondering if you'd be here.
I'm always here.
You may not always see me, but I'm always here. Have you dressed up as Spider-Man before?
Oh, yes, I have.
Like a regular daily thing or just for conventions?
Just for conventions, you know, special events.
Dressing up as Han Solo for a day is something I highly recommend to everyone.
What's the key to feathering hair?
It's just a light touch of windblown. That's all it is.
I found Cammy from Street Fighter. What made you dress up as Cammy?
Well, Cammy's always been one of my most favorite Street Fighter characters in addition to Chun-Li, so it seemed natural.
So are a lot of people requesting to take photos because of the outfit?
Yeah, I think a lot of people love Cammy as well and want to see the picture with their favorite superheroine.
And I have the advantage of looking like Neil Patrick Harris.
So is that like criteria number one? Who do I look like?
Who do I look like? Criteria number 2 is, can I make it? Number 3 is the laugh.
Ba-bam, we got Dr. Horrible at PAX.
And here I am.
There you have it, some of the best cosplay of PAX 2011.
Yeehaw!
To say that Valve has had a busy year is a huge understatement. They released Portal 2, they have DLC on the way, they just held $1 million tournament for Dota 2, and now they've announced a new Counter-Strike. Global Offensive is here on the floor, and we've got a preview. Countless hours of sleep lost, 25 million copies sold, billions of matches played. Counter-Strike is one of the most recognizable online games of all time, and now Valve is re-outfitting and reloading with Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Counter-Strike is beloved. We'll go with that. It's been a very popular game. How do you start to redo it without destroying it?
The first thing we do is everything that works still works. So Dust 2, most played map ever, still works. But the good thing about having a game that's been out there, that's been played so much, the community's really good at telling us what works and what doesn't.
Counter-Strike has always been a PC gamer's experience, but that changes now.
So we're actually going to have it come out on the PC, Mac, PS3, and an Xbox 360. And the cool thing is, PS3 players can play against PC and Mac. And it's going to work because we have skill-based matchmaking. So if you're really great with a controller, you're going to be playing against really other great players. If you're really bad with a controller, you're going to be playing with lesser players.
Counter-Strike has always been known as a hardcore experience. Is there any way that you guys have thought of to kind of make it a little bit more open to the new player?
That's a big problem, right? Because you can't just jump in and keep getting owned, and it's just not going to be fun for you. So the skill-based matchmaking lets you start in, and you'll be playing people who get the same skill as you. So as you get better, you'll work your way up that ladder. We also have a new mode called Casual Mode, and you have unlimited money. So you can buy all the crazy weapons, experiment, try. There's no friendly fire. We have all chat on, so you can talk with other people playing. Just have a good time, learn the game, and then start the competitive route, and see how far you can go.
And what do you think is the secret of the longevity of Counter-Strike?
Some games, skill or items and other things come because you put a lot of time into the game, and we're saying that shouldn't matter. What should matter is how good you are with it. And that clean level of skill and competition is what really made it last. If you die, either the other guy's better than you or you messed up. It's not because of some other system around the game.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive doesn't come out till next year, but if you're on PC, you can get your grubby mitts on it early in the October beta. We'll tell you how as soon as we know.
Counter-terrorists win.
Coming up after the break, we'll have the latest on Infamous 2 Festival of Blood.
What?
Straight from Sucker Punch's Nate Fox.
Whoa.
It's true. Then the second part of our Resistance 3 review, which tackles multiplayer. Oh, and we'll give it a score.
Yeah, they wait for those type of things at home. Plus, we're going to have a special live edition of the X-Play Inbox And check out the wildly inventive indie games in the PAX 10. Street Fighter meets Boggle. You can have my money and my life. All that and more right after this.
Welcome back. Now, Nate Fox, or as I like to call him, Mr. Fox, is the game director at Sucker Punch, which just released Infamous 2 in May. Now, this fall, they're taking a different approach and releasing a standalone vampire-themed expansion called Festival of Blood. We got some FaceTime with Nate for all the details. If anyone knows a thing or two about great games, it's Sucker Punch Productions game director Nate Fox.
Sucker Punch was founded by a couple old Microsoft execs who were pretty well set up, and they said, what do we want to do? What would be like the most fun thing to do with our times alive? And they said, okay, we'll make a video game firm.
The company's first game was Rocket Robot on Wheels for the Nintendo 64 back in 1999. Like a lot of the system's titles, it features understandably blurry graphics, but reviewers instantly took note of the polished platforming. The next game was their breakthrough, Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
Jackpot, Sly! Look at all this stuff!
My favorite game at Sucker Punch has got to be Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, just because it was weird and we all just threw ourselves into it as a team, and it had a real family atmosphere making it.
That hard work led them to complete an entire trilogy with the release of Sly 2 Band of Thieves and Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves.
The philosophy at Sucker Punch is to keep trying until it's fun. You know, like my personal motto is fifth time is the charm.
This is a delicate business.
After their success with the Sly Cooper series, they moved into a more mature realm with the release of Infamous and Infamous 2. The second game had a very cool new feature.
One of the cooler aspects of Infamous 2 is this UGC feature. UGC stands for User-Generated Content. So we have our mainline big cinematic story, but we also have this suite of tools for gamers to make missions of their own inside of New Marais, the city where the story takes place. It's like an adventure that just keeps building and building as more users kind of collaborate.
Without your help, they're all going to die.
Next up for Sucker Punch is the vampire-themed Infamous 2 Festival of Blood.
So we're coming out with this game called Festival of Blood, which is a story where Cole McGrath, our hero, gets bitten by this vampire and he's turning into one.
Last year, the Sly Collection, a remastered special edition of the trademark franchise, was released. And there was a big announcement recently.
Sucker Punch got acquired by Sony, and it's kind of like marrying your long-term girlfriend. We've been working with Sony now for like 10 years. They've been awesome to us, and so now we're just kind of saying, okay, we've been dating long enough, let's cement the deal.
Sounds like fans don't need to worry about the future of Sucker Punch Productions.
The future of Sucker Punch is all about trying to do something a little bit weird. Find a new fun experience, and I can't imagine that'll change at all. We'll just continue to go down that road.
Since 2008, the Penny Arcade Expo has been host to a little bitty indie games competition called the PAX 10. Attendees get to play 10 inventive titles and vote for their favorite. Now, with a pedigree that includes titles like Bastion, Super Meat Boy, and Audio Surf, the PAX 10 are definitely worth a look. It actually sounds kind of delicious, too, for some reason. Here's what's in the running this year.
Every year, PAX honors the best indie games out there by selecting the PAX 10. And because there's no way we could cram all that awesome into one package, here's the first 5.
So the splatters, the tagline is, life is short, die
with style. The splatters, they're creatures but with a very short life expectancy. So they decided if they're gonna die anyway, they're gonna do it with style. It starts off looking more like you play more like Angry Birds or stuff like that, but actually in terms of the depth of skill, it becomes very, very intense. It's a physics-based, it's always changing, it's spectacular in terms of the visual, and it's totally fun from A to Z.
You brought your video game along with your sweet suit, so tell me about your game.
Antechamber is a game about discovery set inside a vibrant, minimal, Escher-like world where geometry and space follow unfamiliar rules and obstacles are a matter of perception. You're running around in a non-Euclidean labyrinth, so it's like kind of four-dimensional. One epic head trip, basically.
I didn't understand a word of what you just said, man. So Word Fighter, about language and combat, I assume.
We call it Street Fighter meets Words with Friends. We're mashing word games and fighting games together where you battle head to head and just try to outspell and outwit your opponent. All 6 characters are themed after famous authors, so we got like Edgar and Agatha and Jane.
I love that you're on a first name basis with all these famous artists. Oh, we got Edgar and Jane, you know, whatever.
We go way back, man.
Yeah, we're all good. The game title is probably the most unique game title I've ever heard.
I actually woke up one morning with the name Vanessa St. Pierre in my head. Her Nightmare is a 2-dimensional platform game mapped to a 3-dimensional cube, and the players control Vanessa, who's a young girl who's really skilled at solving puzzles, where she has to rotate individual sides of the cube in order to find her way to different exits and save her family.
For the people at home, what is Fez?
Fez is a 2D, 3D platformer that plays on the notion of spatial dimensions. The gameplay is strictly 2D on a 2D plane, like traditional platformer, but at any point you get to rotate the camera, the perspective around, and so you're basically playing a 2D game in a 3D world.
So smart.
Thank you.
So smart.
Thank you.
And be sure to tune in tomorrow for a look at the other 5 games.
All right, guys, stick around. We have got more from PAX Prime on the way, including the second part of our Resistance 3 review.
Plus, we'll do something incredibly dangerous and answer your questions in person in the X-Play inbox. We'll be right back. X-Play All Access PAX Prime is brought to you by GameFly, video game rentals delivered to your door.
Hey, welcome back to X-Play. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the show, then you're probably familiar with our X-Play inbox segment. You write us vulgar questions, we make them TV friendly, and then we answer them. But we're actually going to do something a little bit different for PAX. And by that, I mean we're going to answer the X-Play inbox live in your face to your question to your face.
All right, this week we're cutting out the middleman, having you ask us in person. So here the question is Emily. Emily, go.
Hi, so what won me over in the first Mass Effect is the deep hardcore RPG elements, but the new marketing for Mass Effect 3 has been all action-oriented, so my question is, how are they planning on keeping fans like me happy? Are they going to have RPG elements, or is it turning into Call of Duty?
Did you like Mass Effect 2?
I loved it. I loved it so much.
I think with it, that's sort of their marketing campaign. They're trying to make it seem like it's a game for everybody. They're trying to bring in more fans, but that doesn't mean that they're getting rid of any of those RPG elements. All right, now Emily, for asking that question, GameFly is giving you a 1-year membership for video game rentals. That is for you.
You are a winner.
Yay!
Earlier in the show, we saw part 1 of our Resistance 3 review, which focused on this single-player campaign.
Yeah, and you might have noticed, like, hey, where's the multiplayer, and what about the score that they usually give? Well, what is that? You should have just waited, because it's right here.
It's a sad thing not to have friends, but it's even sadder not to have enemies. Lots of enemies. Enemies who have PSN accounts. After the less than impressive multiplayer experience in Resistance 2, Resistance 3 roars back onto the online killing field with gusto. You've got Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, plus modes like Breach where you protect and destroy reactors.
Protect the reactor.
And Chain Reaction, where both teams capture different control points across the map.
Your team captured the location.
Truth be told, none of this is terribly new, but the array of weapons, beautifully rendered maps, along with fun perks like cloaking and the ability to see enemy footprints, keep it interesting.
Node is under attack.
Another unfortunate turn is the inclusion of Sony's online pass service. Each retail copy comes with an online code that can be activated only once. If you borrow Resistance from a friend or buy it used, you'll either need to forego the online experience or purchase a new code from Sony. This is an effort to keep used game sales to a minimum, but sadly, it may just keep sales to a minimum.
The enemy stole your flag.
The multiplayer works, it's fun, but we don't see it stealing many fans away from Call of Duty or Gears of War. We would gladly have traded the competitive effort for a longer campaign or 4-player co-op. Beyond that, Resistance 3 is the real deal. Up till this point, the franchise has felt a little like Insomniac's answer to COD or Halo. Resistance 3 finally catches its stride and displays the confidence to be something all its own. Something brutal, something whimsical, and ultimately something special. A 5.
You're the one we've been praying for.
Out of 5.
Tomorrow, X-Play All Access PAX Prime continues with a look at Assassin's Creed Revelations, which takes Ezio back to Constantinople and into the memories of Altair. Plus, we've got a preview of Quantum Conundrum, the quirky new puzzle game from the lead designer of Portal. Don't miss it.
And that's only the beginning.
We're also going to find out who has been added to the roster in Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Oh, I can't wait. And be sure to tune in Saturday for our PAX coverage of Halo Fest.
Thanks for watching X-Play.